Coastal Bend emergency managers gathered in Refugio County to promote hurricane awareness today as we reach the halfway mark in this hurricane season. The message included knowing your risk for hurricanes, making evacuation plans, including supply kits, how to stay informed, and being prepared for recovery after any storm. Frontline responders, including local officials and emergency management, talked about where recovery from Harvey stands now and some of the lessons learned.
We've made efforts to correct as much as we can in the time and funding that we have allowed.
But I think from the local and the state and federal agencies, we're just overwhelmed with the demands of the natural disasters in 2017, and certainly local jurisdictions here felt that overwhelming sense of kind of lack of resources initially because they were stretched too thin.
The Coastal Bend Emergency Managers Association held today's event.